Okay, so actually this is the first clip that I'm doing with my cut hair. Still a bit not used to it, but yeah, it's just a bit of difference. But yeah, this video is going to be the video where I complete my Goodreads challenge, and I thought why not bring you along with me as I complete it. Yeah, so currently my goal is 84 books, I think. As of now, when I'm filming this, I have read 79 of 84 books, which means I am 94% of the way through. So I would just read about 5 books, then I'll be done with my Goodreads challenge. I'm not going to increase it because I don't want to put unnecessary stress on myself, so I'm just gonna continue reading and then it will just surpass it. But yeah, so that's what's gonna happen. So as of now, I actually have kind of a set TBR for this because these are just books that the audiobook holds are going to run out soon. So in a way I have to finish them really quickly, so we shall see what happens. But yeah, so right now I'm currently reading Castles in Their Bones, which was kindly sent to me by Times Reads. And this book, let me read you the synopsis. This book is a story of 3 princesses who are triplets, and they were born for seduction, conquest, and the crown. So Empress Margaro has had plans for her daughter since the day they were born. Princesses Sophronia, Daphne, and Beatrice will be queens, and now aged 16, they each must leave their homeland and marry their princess. Beautiful, smart, and demure, the triplets appear to be the perfect brides because Margaro knows there is one common truth: everyone underestimates a girl, which is a grave mistake. Sophronia, Daphne, and Beatrice are no innocents. They have been trained since birth in the arts of deception, seduction, and violence with a singular goal: to bring down monarchies, and their marriages are merely the first stage of their mother's grand vision, to one day reign over the entire continent of Vesteria. So I am at page 314 out of 514. Oh, exactly 200 pages left. Yeah, about this much left. This book has a map. So pretty, right? And also a family tree. Like, I love books that do this. This one is more about the court politics and things like that, because they're trying to sow discord within the kingdoms that they are married to, so that eventually their home kingdom, the empress, can rule over everything. But yeah, it's not something that I'll typically read because it's all about politics, but I'm finding it quite interesting actually, because at the start I thought it would be a bit hard to distinguish between the 3 princesses because I thought they might sound the same and I'll get confused, but after a while actually it was quite okay, and they each have their own romances and their own missions to help this plot, and it's quite interesting. So yeah, that's what I'm currently reading, and my audiobook hold is expiring in 4 days. So I have to finish 200 pages in 4 days. And the next book that I'm also currently reading alongside is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Oh my god. So I borrowed the audiobook, and my audiobook is expiring in 3 days, and I'm 58% in. So I'm sure you have heard about this book already. Let me just read you the description. Basically, it's about Nora Stevens, who is a literary agent, and she goes on this trip with her sister Libby to Sunshine Falls, which is the destination or the location of her sister's favorite book that the author based on. Before they went on this trip, Nora kind of met this editor called Charlie Lestra, and they didn't really get along together because I think the purpose of the meeting was to discuss about this particular author's work, and Charlie was like, this book is not good and things like that. He doesn't want that one, he wants another book of that author's. So they didn't get along, so in the end they kind of just parted ways and they reunited in Sunshine Falls. Things progress from there, and it's quite interesting because Nora Stevens, her character is actually based on, you know, those books where the guy goes to this small town, he falls in love with somebody from the town, and then he dumps the girl back in the city and he starts a new life in this town, determined to save the town and things like that. So Nora is the girl that is back in the city. So she has all these like stereotypes, like all the expensive things she likes and things like that. I'm not doing a very good job explaining, but yeah, basically that's the story, and it's very cute because it's about books also, which I love, and the romance is also quite interesting, and I'm having the best time reading and listening to the audiobook at the same time. So I kind of want to take my time with it, but my hold is expiring in 3 days, so yeah, we shall see. So that's 2 books already. I'm also currently reading a 3rd book. It is Nimona, which is a very cute graphic novel. So this one is about Nimona, who is an impulsive young shapeshifter with a knack for villainy. Lord Ballister Blackheart is a villain with a vendetta. As sidekick and supervillain, Nimona and Lord Blackheart are about to wreak some serious havoc. Their mission proved to the kingdom that Sir Ambrosius Goldenloin and his buddies at the institution of law enforcement and heroics aren't the heroes everyone thinks they are. So it's very cute because it's about Nimona's and Lord Blackheart's relationship as they work together and things like that, and it's about finding out about the extent of Nimona's powers also. So I am currently 66% through, so I'm probably gonna finish that soon. And yeah, so that's 3 books already. Based on my library holds, the next book that I should be getting to is A Daca Sheet of Magic. This is due in 6 days. Yeah, so this book over here, I also have the physical book. This one is about Cal, who is one of the last travelers, magicians with a rare ability to travel between parallel universes connected by one magical city. There's Grey London without magic and ruled by the Mad King George III, Red London where magic is revered and where Cal was raised alongside the heir to the empire, White London where people fight to control the remaining magic and magic fights back, and once there was Black London. Oh my gosh, I've heard so many things about this, and it's by Schwab, one of my favorite authors, so I'm finally getting to this, which I'm very excited for. So that's 4, and then we have Set on You by Amy Leah. This one is a romance that I borrowed from the library. My hold is expiring in 9 days. So this one, curvy fitness influencer Crystal Chen built her career shattering gym stereotypes. After a recent breakup, she has little time left for men, instead finding joy in the gym, her place of power and positivity. Enter firefighter Scott Ritchie, the smug new gym patron who routinely steals her favorite squat rack. Soon, sparks start flying. As the ultra-competitive foes battle for gym domination, the last thing they expect is to run into each other at their grandparents' engagement party. And in the lead up to the wedding, Crystal discovers there's a soft heart under Scott's muscled exterior. Bonding over family, fitness, and cheesy pickup lines, she just might have found her person. Yeah, and I mainly borrowed this because it was blurbed by my favorite romance author, Ali Hazelwood. Okay, so we have about 5 books now, and I guess I'll update you my progress along the way. And yeah, stay tuned. It has been many days since my last update, and I have finished quite a number of books since that time. So here's my update of multiple books at once. I believe in my previous clip of me talking about the books, I was reading a lot of books currently, but I have since finished most of them. So let's slowly go through them. The first book that I finished was Nimona by N.D. Stevenson, which was a graphic novel, and I gave it 3.5 stars, and I loved the plot so much. Out of all the graphic novels that I've read, this is one of the most complete stories in my opinion. It has a legitimate plot. Not to say that other graphic novels don't have a legitimate plot, but more of the time it's about the art style, the characters, and within a graphic novel you can't really have a lot of story. But to me, this one, Nimona, was so good. Oh my gosh, it really reminds me of reading a novel, just that this is in graphic novel form. I hope I'm making sense. Most of the graphic novels that I read are maybe series, so they don't have a start, middle, climax, and an end. But this one kind of does. But I need a sequel. I refuse to believe that this one is a standalone. The plot was good, but I am not happy to part from this world if that was the ending. But I have no idea whether there is going to be a sequel. But this is just me trying to manifest one because it was so good. So that was most of my thoughts about this book. And then the next book that I finished was Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and I gave that one 4.25 stars. So it's definitely an improvement from my first Emily Henry, which was People We Meet on Vacation, which I read for that Goodreads Choice Award nominee reading vlog that I will link up above. But yeah, oh my gosh, this one was so much better in my opinion, and it's a relief actually. Trigger warnings for death of a parent, panic attacks, abandonment, infidelity, gaslighting, and toxic relationship. I listened to the audiobook while reading the physical book, and this for me was kind of, I had a feeling that I'll read this for all the way until the last chapter, which was chapter 37, not counting the epilogue. It made me so happy, oh my gosh, that I just had to give it a 0.25 more because the ending was so good. And I really loved the concept of this, as I mentioned in the previous clip. There's this one quote that Charlie said to Nora that I just immediately like, oh my god, that is so cute. So yeah, hit me in the feels for this one. I'm just missing Beach Read from her recent adult romances kind of books, so I really hope that one is a good read as well. And the last book that I finished recently is Castles in Their Bones, and in the end, this book over here, I gave it 3.5 stars. Look at my 2 tabs over here. So I think I mentioned in the previous clip also that I really liked the concept of this, and this has triple POV, which is quite a good thing for those of you who enjoy multiple points of view. But for me, I was worried at the start that I wouldn't be able to differentiate between the 3 sisters because I thought they might sound the same, they're triplets and things like that. But after I got into the story, it wasn't that hard to differentiate also, and having this family tree kind of thing really helped. Although I would have appreciated it more if they would have also put the marriage between which prince and things like that so that I can remember more clearly. And okay, this is mostly about court politics in a sense because it's about them having their own missions in each country to ultimately let the country that they married to fall under the hands of their home country so that their mother, the Empress Margaret, will rule over everything. I don't normally like to read about politics in books, but this one was quite fascinating for me. I'm not sure because if it's YA, so it's a bit younger and not as complex. Maybe the romance helped also. The romance helped the book have a lighter take on everything. I was intrigued by the romance, I was intrigued by how they would play their part in this overarching scheme and how things change along the way, how the relationships form. But this book is 514 pages, which is definitely too long in my opinion. It definitely could have been shorter because there are parts where I felt like the story was dragging, the story was a bit slow, and it didn't really help much. Sometimes the way that they execute their missions proved to be a bit simplistic at times, so that was why I gave it in the end 3.5 stars. Doesn't really stand up to the other 3.75 star books or 4-star books that I have rated. So I will be continuing with this series, but I have to wait until February next year, so it's a bit sad. But I need to talk about the ending. The ending though, oh my god, I wasn't expecting it. I was just very shook by the ending. How even. So now I have to wait until February next year for the second book. Thanks to Times Reads for sending me this review copy. So with those 3 books, my goal is now 97%. I've read 82 of 84 books. Just 2 more books and I'll be done. And what I'm currently reading is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. So this one, oh my gosh, I really do not like the audiobook for this, so I decided that I'm just gonna return the audiobook to the library and just read this physically instead, because it kind of deterred my reading experience because the voices sound very old. Like, I get that it's about London, so they have a British accent I think, but the voice actor sounds super old. Doesn't really sound like what I imagine the characters' voices will sound like, especially after I saw their fan art, which I'll put here. Cal and then Lila and Holland, you know, it doesn't really sound the same, so I'm just gonna stop the audiobook before it makes my rating for this book lower. And ever since then, I've been reading the physical book, right? My reading experience has become so much better with my own voices in my head. I'm at page 237 out of 386, so I'm actually almost getting there. I'm really enjoying it now that I've stopped the audiobook. Cal and Lila have met, they're on this mission, on this adventure, and I think that's something that I enjoy in books, and I hope that there's a romance between the two of them. I'm just very intrigued by this world, how it functions, the different Londons, and whether or not they'll succeed with their mission. I'm just very fascinated. So V.E. Schwab has done it again. Although I have seen on Instagram that people are saying that the second book in this series is the worst one. I'm a bit terrified of that, but let's get through A Darker Shade of Magic first. So yeah, I will update you again when I have more updates.
Jiggle.
I'm gonna trust that the mic is working and it can somehow mask the fan over here. I came with an update. I have officially finished A Darker Shade of Magic. Here are my quality over quantity tabs. I gave this 4 stars. Let me pull up my review to tell you the trigger warnings. Trigger warnings for abuse, assault, attempted murder, attempted rape, blood, decapitation, gore, kidnapping, murder, self-harm, sexual assault, sexual violence, slavery, terrorism, torture, and violence. I am just very amazed at how VE Schwab can write so many different worlds. So for example, we have Vicious and Vengeful, that duology, trilogy kind of thing. It's a completely different world. And then this one, A Darker Shade of Magic, is also another different world. And this Savage Song and Our Dark Duet, that duology, is also a different world. Oh my gosh, how is she so creative? I've always thought that Cassandra Clare is my favorite author, but now I'm thinking that she's just one of my favorite authors because she technically just writes the same books, just with different characters within the same world, the same concept. So although it's creative in the sense that there's something happening, but it's just in that world. But VE Schwab she comes up with so many different worlds for all her different series, and I'm just so amazed by it. So yeah, this was a very strong 4 stars. I'm not sure if the front part was kind of affected by the audiobook when I was reading it, but after I've given up on the audiobook, I have just started reading the physical book instead and picturing the characters. I really love their fan art. Oh my gosh, they're so nice in physically, appearance wise. I thought that the ending with their adventure kind of was a little bit out of nowhere, kind of rushed. So I have no idea what's going to happen in the second book because this book has an ending of sorts. Yeah, so I really can't tell what's going to happen in the next book, which is A Gathering of Shadows. I have it somewhere there. But I'm very excited to get to it. Maybe this month, maybe next month, but definitely not in this reading vlog. My favorite character is probably Cal. That's kind of like the main character, but yeah, my favorite character is probably Cal. And I'm very excited to get back into the world of magic. So with that, I am now 1 book away from completing my Goodreads challenge. I'm 98% through, of which I'm now reading Set on You by Amy Leah. So my audiobook is due in 3 days and my physical book is due in 5 days, I think. So yeah, I have to quickly get reading. I am at page 141. So basically this story is about Crystal Chen, who is a curvy fitness influencer, and how she meets Scott Ritchie is they both happen to be working out at the same gym, and Scott stole her squat rack, her favorite squat rack, even though she choked it in a sense because she placed her stuff there and then she just turned around to get water, and then when she came back he was just using it, and he was being kind of an asshole about it. Even though she said like, oh, I already have my stuff here, I kind of claimed this space already, then he was just like, oh, I didn't see your things, and then he continued working out, just being a very asshole about this whole situation. After that, it was very childish because he just kept annoying her in the gym. It kind of reminds me of, you know, those primary school when boys like a girl, then they just try to annoy her in like every way possible. Kind of reminded me of that, even though they are like in their 30s. Scott is 30. I can't remember how old Crystal is. It was kind of childish, kind of annoying. I just didn't really like how they encountered each other, and I don't know. So I was very tempted to DNF it, but I like everything apart from their romance apparently. I love watching Crystal interact with her family members, and there's her sister, there's her grandmother, and it's another weird thing. Crystal's grandmother is getting engaged to Scott's grandfather. So technically they are gonna be under one family. So if they also get together, how is that? I don't know how possible is that. Is that normal? I don't know. I'm not very comfortable with that also. But the thing is, there was a period of time when I was gonna drop this book, but I was intrigued by it. So I kept going. And I mean, it's fun to see me getting represented in a sense because she's a curvy girl. She's all about the body positivity and things like that. At page where I'm at, right, they're talking about how she's an introvert, and then Scott was asking her to give an example. And then she said, I'll put it this way, if I have plans for more than 2 consecutive nights, I'll probably stress about it all week. Oh, and if someone cancels plans, it feels like I won the lottery. And I'm just like, yes. Although I am more extreme than that. I'm stressed out just by going out more than twice a week. I don't really think I'll give it more than 3 stars, but I still want to keep going. So I don't know what that says about me, but I'm just gonna keep going. If I feel tempted towards the end to DNF, then I'll just DNF, but I don't think I will, which is strange because normally if I don't think I'll like the story, I'm just gonna DNF, but I guess everything apart from the romance I'm liking and enjoying, so I'm gonna keep going.
엄마 통이 되네. 되더라. 나는 통이 안 되는데. 엄마 통이 되네. 엄마 통 되네. 이게 유전자가 이식하려면 공유자 유전자 검사 해봐야 되고 저기 왜 어떻게 이렇게 서울에 있는 큰 병원이라도 가면 조금 지금상들은 이동 못해요. 가는 도중 일렸습니다. 공유자랑 수혜자 검사도 하고 보존도 시켜도 해보긴 할 건데 사실상 기적이 아닌 이상 힘이 시작 많이 해. 기적이 어딨어요? 제 그렸던 인생에 그딴 거 없어요. 죽이고 살리는 거야 너. 하늘이 정하는 건지 뭐 어떻게 해? 내가 지금 게임을 죽으면 안 돼? 비비 너도 뒤에 맞아보기는 처음이겠지. 나도 놈새끼 때려보기는 처음이라고. 맞아보기는. 비비. 나도 놈새끼 때려보기는 처음이라고. 진짜로 놈새끼 같으면 때리지도 않았지.
Okay, so I need to stop crying at K-dramas, but another K-drama has made me cry. If you were wondering what K-drama it was, it's actually this K-drama called When the Camellia Blooms. It was released in 2019, I believe. It stars Gong Hyo-jin and Kang Han-er. The story is basically about how this single mother, played by Gong Hyo-jin, moves into this small town called Ongsan, and she opens this bar in this small town, and it's the only bar. She faces a lot of discrimination, comments made by people in the town. They basically don't really like her because she's very pretty, even though she's a single mother. They're jealous and things like that, so they kind of bully her in a sense, not to a very harsh extent, but they just make mean remarks in a sense. One day, this police officer, this guy, he was from Ongsan, but he became a police officer, I think, in Seoul, but he got demoted back to this substation in Ongsan, so he came back to his hometown. That was when he meets the single mother. I forgot her name. Oh, Dongbik. She's called Dongbik. And then they kind of interact, and maybe more things come from there. At the same time, there's also this serial killer that has not been caught. So he started murdering people 6 years ago or 5 years ago, but ever since then he stopped. And then recently, after the 6 or 5 years, he has started again. All the things that happened before a murder happens has started happening in this town again. So they're also determined to catch this serial killer. And it's very cute, it's very touching, quite funny also. And for this drama, I really liked the emphasis on mother-child relationships, the small town bonds you have, for example, like what you see in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. Because even though the residents of the town were kind of mean, they actually care still. So it's like, you know, that aunt you have that, I don't know, makes biting remarks, but she still cares for you in a sense. Yeah, it's kind of like that feeling. So I gave it 4 stars in the end because it didn't really hit that 5-star mark, but it's still a very good drama that I would recommend you to pick up if you're interested based on what I've just told you about it. And oh my gosh, one last thing is the son is so cute. He's played by that famous child actor Kim Kang-hoon. Yeah, he's so cute. In this drama, I think he was only 10. Yeah, so he's playing this role of an 8-year-old, but he's so cute, oh my gosh. So I previously watched Racket Boys. It's a more recent drama, that one, so he was more grown up in that. So watching this drama when he's still very young is so cute, and his acting is so good. Oh my gosh, so good. Yeah, so that was that drama. I have now moved on to Shooting Stars. We follow this PR team in this management agency where they manage idols and actors and things like that. The female main lead is the PR team leader, and the male main lead is this star, this actor in this company. I'm still at the start, so we're just slowly watching, but good vibes so far. I think this vlog is going to end soon because I'm almost done with Set on You by Emilia. I don't think it's gonna be a 5-star, so it's quite sad that this will be the last book that I complete my Goodreads goal with, but it's still quite cute. So now I'm at page 284. I guess my stance hasn't really changed. I still prefer everything else but the romance, and this is a romance, so yeah, I might get like a 3 to 4 stars from me. I really enjoyed reading more about her life as a fitness influencer, and all the cyberbullying that she has to face is quite important to read about because it's something that's really happening to this day also. She's a curvy fitness influencer, so she faces more discrimination, so it's kind of sad but also a very important read to read about. I'm like this far in, almost done, so I'll come in and update you when I'm done to give you my final rating.
Well, my parents know about my breakup with Scott thanks to Tara's big mouth. I've been hesitant to share the news with Grandma Flo and Martin, knowing they would be devastated. Grandma Flo would surely lose her.
I finished this book. Let's talk about trigger warnings first. Trigger warnings for fat phobia, cyberbullying, references to racism, fitness, diet culture, cancer, as well as bullying. So in the end, I gave this 3 stars because it was just an okay book for me. I forgot to mention this just now, but I thought that they kissed way too soon in this book. They kissed right at the start. Not completely at the start, but almost at the start. I guess it just felt like there was a lot of attraction at first sight. I also found it very weird that it's a normal thing for the two of them to get together and their grandparents to also get together. The last bit about the conflict, I guess it wasn't technically a conflict. So basically she was having a lot of difficulties trying to deal with the post that she uploaded of the two of them going viral because people are saying how he is blind or he's so nice for looking past her weight and falling in love with her and things like that. So it's just those fat shaming remarks, and she was trying to deal with it by herself, so she didn't want him to intervene, but she got angry because he kind of responded to it. The hate was kind of dying down, but because of that it started to go up again. So from there, how she gets back with him is that she basically got his best friend's help, tricked Scott into thinking that there was a utility call at the gym. So he came with his whole firefighter crew and he was wearing his firefighter attire. And I don't know how ethical this is because you know how people say don't anyhow call the ambulance, things like that. Maybe it's different because she directly got the friend's help who is also a firefighter, but still I don't know how to feel about it. But it was quite cute because at the gym there was this video clip that started playing. She compiled all these clips together of her previous gym exercising clips because she's a fitness influencer, so she was bound to film herself doing workouts and all their cute interactions during those workouts, and it's so creative. I really thought that was very cute, just that the firefighter bit, him coming in his full gear with his crew, is a bit weird to me, but the idea with the video was very cute, so I gave it 3 stars in the end. I think I will read Amy Leah's future works. It's called X's and O's, which follows I think Tara, who is Crystal's sister. With that, I have finished my Goodreads goal, 84 out of 84, and I can't believe out of 84 books, I only read 1 5 stars. I need to do an intervention soon. Here are the 3 books that I read physically, 2 books as an ebook. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're still here, comment a confetti emoji because that was what I got when I finished the Goodreads goal. And I hope you're having a good day. Have a great week whenever or wherever you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!